Good morning, Pace, and welcome to our third week of summer schedule and what that means for us. Hope that I hope first of all that summer's on your mind. Um, I think that we're all kind of ready to bust out and enjoy summer, and we have a most glorious summer here, and so I'm looking forward to it. In the past 2 weeks, you guys have gotten some great ideas from Sandy and Raquel about what summer means to them and what they do during their summer routine. And I'm here for just a few minutes to share my take on summer. Summer for me is a time of homeschooling freedom. So I know that we homeschool and we get a lot of freedom in that homeschooling just on a regular basis. But summer is a chance for me to bust out of the schedule. So a lot of different things happen for us during the summer. I have two daughters that are competitive gymnasts, and their schedule actually goes to the day during summer. Now, I've learned just from my own children that if we don't get school done in the morning, it doesn't really work, or at least during the day. Like late afternoon schooling doesn't typically work for us. And so that has presented some challenges in keeping schooling throughout the summer. So what I've decided to do with my summers is to kind of switch things up a bit. And when I think about summer for my kids, we actually don't fully stop educating as far as even the basics like math continues on through the summer, just not as intensely as it does throughout the school year. But I try to have them stay sharp and not regress, because the startup for the school year has just been a bear in years where we've just kind of let the summer go. So we do a little bit of math work throughout the summer. A couple days a week we'll do some math. Some things need to be kept up. Piano. I have 3 children that play piano, and we can't just stop for the summer. Foreign language for us, we can't just stop through the summer. We have been learning Hebrew for about 4.5 to 5 years now, and so we have to continue our studies. And so in some respects, academics can't stop, but in other ways they can slow down. Now, summer is a time for me, I take it as a block for summer. Summer is an opportunity for me to reflect back on how the school year went. What curriculum worked? What curriculum didn't work? What company do I like and I want to pursue their next level curriculum? What needs to be scrapped and start all over? And that's a huge prayerful process for me when it comes to what we're going to use next year and what we're not going to use next year. And so a lot of that happens over the summer for me, and honestly has really happened through quarantine, because I've had a lot of time on my hands to churn over what we're going to be doing for next year. It's also a time for us to look at what the kids really grasped well and maybe what they didn't. So here's just an example, just of our own, transparency. I have a 10, almost 11-year-old daughter, and she is wonderful at many things, and spelling is a struggle for her. Doesn't surprise me. But it is interesting because she's a voracious reader. And so we struggle with spelling. We struggle with spelling even sometimes simple words. And I think it's because she goes to sound it out, and even though she knows the rules, she hasn't partnered the rules of spelling with sounding things out. And so I have decided that this summer we're going to focus on spelling, and in a few different ways. We're not going to sit down and hit the books, but finding some spelling apps, maybe taking something outside the box. Some outside the box learning will happen this summer when it comes to spelling, because I know for her and I see for her that has affected her, in that she kind of thinks she's not a good speller, and she loves writing letters, and she's always concerned that she hasn't spelled stuff right. So for her, we're going to kind of take that time and mentally get a handle on spelling. And so other children, they have different subjects. So instead of rolling through the continual cycle of things and keeping everybody on pace, we're going to kind of slow down to speed up. That's what we do over summer. And I know some people are super hands-off over summer, and that's great. And I love that for your family because, it's for freedom that we were set free, right? That is why Christ set us free, so that we have freedom. And homeschooling for me is part of receiving that freedom. And I love, love, love that everybody's home looks different through the homeschooling process, and especially over summer. For us personally, while I do love summer and I love the weather, we tend to vacation more during winter. And I've noticed for me that if I don't accumulate some hours or some days throughout the summer, I start to feel stressed come Christmas season, because I want to take time off. I want to go on vacation. I want to visit family. I don't want to worry about academics, but I want to go to this party and I want to be at this holiday event. And we always vacation at the very beginning of December. We celebrate Christmas with our families. We also do Hanukkah. We have a lot of different things that we do during that time. And while a lot of that is considered academic, and I do count it as academic because it's cultural studies and things like that, and we usually vacation someplace and are able to do some educational field trips, I still feel like we fall behind on our academics because we're not engaging in those academics. So instead of feeling that stress and that pressure come December, January, and February, when my family likes to go skiing and they want to go visit grandparents and all of these other things that are going on, I kind of have the freedom to breathe because I know that I accumulated hours and academics and we did schoolwork during the summer. So summer for us isn't totally hands-off, though if it is for your family, I love that. But for the families out there who love the idea of kind of completely unschooling through the summer, kind of seeing where the summer lets you go, but maybe your lifestyle doesn't support that because you're gone a lot in the winter or you travel a lot throughout the year, maybe my message is for you, because we still fairly intentionally school throughout the summer. The kids will come home from gymnastics and we'll have a set out 2 hours where we have to get some academics done, where they'll have to run their Hebrew, they'll have to do their piano, maybe they'll hit math. Now we won't really do history or science, but this year I've chosen for my middle schoolers, I have 2 middle schoolers, I've chosen Dave Ramsey's Foundation's U kind of middle school financial piece curriculum. And so they're going to be going through that. So it's kind of a time for me to pick some electives that maybe didn't fit into our list of curriculum throughout the school year. It's kind of an extra icing on the cake type education, but we're still churning around. We're still going through books. We're still doing book work. It's just not as intense. And again, the purpose of that for me is so that when I get to December and February, particularly, which are 2 months of the year that we actually do travel quite a bit and have quite a bit of company, that allows me to breathe and not worry because we're already ahead in math or we're already where we need to be because we did some stuff throughout the summer. Now for us, we moved here a year ago and the whole summer last year was a wash. We didn't do school, we were moving in, we were getting to know the area. I wasn't even registered to homeschool here yet. It was a little bit crazy. It was a crazy summer, and we have those every 4 years, so it's not a surprise for us. But I felt at the end of February like we hadn't finished. And not that it is all about finishing your curriculum, because it's totally not, but I loved the curriculum that we were in, and I know that we could get through it. And I knew my children liked it, and I wanted to finish it because I wanted to have my plan for next year, and I didn't want it to include this year's work still. So I started to feel like, ooh, we're not where we need to be, and that stress comes on me, and ultimately, sadly enough, at times it projects onto the children, and then they get concerned. And so for me, the summer is so, so vital because it gives me peace of mind in my December and February. And I don't know if that resonates with you. It may not at all. You may totally take the whole summer off and love every second of it. But for me, knowing that I have an entire year to determine exactly how I want to school for the whole year and not be boxed into a typical school year calendar was a huge breakthrough when I realized that. When I realized that my homeschool does not have to look like the public school or private school calendar, that was like the chains came off. Anything that affected me about homeschooling, that for me was a game changer. And if you're living in that world where you're like, well, the school year ends on June 15th and, what are we going to do? And maybe that's freedom to you to know that your homeschool doesn't need to look like my homeschool. It doesn't need to look like Raquel's homeschool. It doesn't need to look like Sandy's homeschool. It doesn't need to look like your friend's homeschool. And it doesn't even need to look like the school system. It gets to look like whatever God wants your school to look like. And for me, I tend to be different in the summers because we're still getting schoolwork done. And I know quite a bit of my friends do take summers. Some of them take summers off completely. They're done. And they're done, and they're not logging anything. They're not even focused. Their mind totally needs a break. My mind totally needs a break too, but it needs a break in December and February. So I'm able to manipulate my calendar to suit my life, which is ultimately the perfect, beautiful beauty and marvelousness of homeschooling. I cannot overstate the amazingness of the freedom that homeschooling gives families to make their calendar look like whatever it needs to look like. And summer for me is that beautiful part where we're outside of the schedule, but we're still intense in making sure and focused that we're not losing some of the things from last year, like I said, namely our language, our piano, and some other electives and things like that the children have wanted to learn. I did pick the Dave Ramsey class, but both of my children are both extremely interested in finances and have followed a lot of the financial peace course that my husband and I did almost 2 years ago, and Dave's podcast and things like that. So it's something that interests them, something that they want to learn about, but it didn't fit into our curriculum for the year. So let me just make sure I have everything. We review subjects that we struggled in, something that we got, but we learned it, but we didn't master it, if that makes sense. And when I think on those things, I'm not really focused on electives. I'm talking about core reading, writing, arithmetic. This would be a good time for me to go back and hit the parts of math that maybe one of my kids didn't understand, or focus on handwriting or something like that. Hit up electives that the kids want to learn. Decrease the intensity and the amount, but still stay focused in our studies. So it's focused, but it's calmed down. If we don't hit it, it's not a big deal if we don't get to it. But there's at least a plan in place for education to be done. And for me, summer school is the icing on the homeschool cake. It adds extra hours to my, Massachusetts required hours or days, so that when I hit those winter months and we want to go away for a week, 2 weeks, sometimes at a time, I don't have to worry, are we going to do something educational? We're already behind. They're behind in their math. They're behind in this. I have the peace of mind and the freedom knowing that we put the work in up front and we can just go. And there's no concern. And the vacation can be whatever the vacation needs to be, whether it's educational and academic or not. And so that kind of front loads my year with, in past sometimes we've gotten a month of school done. Maybe not this year. We got none done last year, and it was rough for me coming, about 3/4 of the way through the school year. And I missed having a few of those buffer hours, if you will, knowing that I had put in some time. We weren't behind. We were exactly where we needed to be, and we could vacation in peace and not worry about whether or not we were going to finish a curriculum that we are capable of finishing, if that makes sense. Let's see, they're bonus hours. We love our winter vacations, and this allows us freedom. So, while I realize that's not the most fun way to spend your summer, coming home from gymnastics and hitting the books for an hour or two, it helps us to enjoy the times of the year that we want to enjoy, totally stress-free and unconcerned about where we are in our curriculum, because the kids know when they're behind. The kids know when they haven't been doing their work, and they don't want to do any more work than they need to. And so they also don't want to be doing work in the car, so we can make sure that we're getting through our curriculum and staying on pace. And again, I will just quickly say that this is curriculum that we're capable of getting through. This isn't curriculum that we're struggling with, or we need to change, or it's not working. Staying on track is important to me when, we have 4 kids at 4 different grade levels, and everybody's learning, something different and whatever. If we're not on track, I am going to be a disaster. So this helps me, and this brings freedom to other parts of the year. So if you're the family who enjoys a whole lot of freedom on vacations and outdoorsiness during the winter months, and maybe summer is fun and you enjoy it and you still get to do all the things that you like to do, but you don't find yourself traveling as much, then perhaps just shifting your school year a little bit helps. So our school year for next year has already started. We completed our 900 hours, and we are several days already into next year's schooling. Part of that is COVID and being stuck inside, and the other part of it is just we finished and we're going to move on. We're not going to stop. So that's where my family stands. That's how homeschooling and year-round schooling, we're really year-round schoolers. Year-round schooling brings us freedom in our winter months, when the kids always want to go skiing, or they always want to go see grandma and papa, or they always want to go, vacation. They always want to be someplace. They love the winter months. We never got that because we've lived in hot weather for a really long time. So they are excited to go bust out and be skiing constantly when they can, and enjoying winter. And year-round hitting of the books helps us do that. And that's what works for us. So if it works for you, that's great. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you do over the summer, what your school year looks like. Do you still are your kids still in books throughout the summer? Are they not? Maybe, I love the idea of Raquel's family taking up a family project and building that. That's amazing. Last year we did it with our roof, with my husband, my son, and my father-in-law put a roof on the house, and you better believe I loved that as school. The kid learned so much. So I love that idea. That just doesn't usually work for us for the summer. So that's us. That's the Cuddly family. And I'd love to hear what your family does. Drop a line. Tell us what you do, how your school year works. Are you done with your school year? Have you started next year? Do you take a break? Some families I know, they school for 6 weeks and take off a week, and that's their cycle all year. And that is awesome. That is awesome. Our schedule just doesn't usually fall like that. So I'd love to hear from you. Hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that your summer is amazing. And I hope that no matter what plan you pick up for your summer, no matter whatever you do, you realize that your homeschooling and the amount of freedom that you have is beautiful and wonderful. And it is a true gift. Jesus gives us a huge, huge gift in our rights and ability to homeschool our children, and the freedom that comes from that to skew our year to fit whatever vacation schedule we want to have. So we love you. We are praying for you. We cannot wait till next year. Shameless plug, if you're still listening. Start thinking about co-op for next year. We have so many wonderful, wonderful things planned, and we want your family there. We want to meet you. We want to get to know you. We want to love on you. We want to stand with you, and we are going to have co-op. It's going to happen. It's going to rock. It's going to be anointed. It's going to be Jesus filled, And the focus is always on him at our co-op. And I know that if you come out and you meet the people who have been co-oping with us, you are just going to adore us. So come and meet us. We're going to be having an open house hopefully soon, where you can meet us and get to know us. We're going to start putting up information about classes. We're going to start putting things up about registration. At least come check us out. At least consider the opportunity to be educated and fellowshipping with intentional believers who find Jesus in everything, whether it's the pages of a chemistry book, the laws of government, or the grammar rules. We're going to find him. He's there, and he is going to he's got some great plans for our co-op. We are just so excited. But co-op is nothing without people who come. And we want to meet you, and we want to see you, and we want to get to know your family, and our children want to get to know your children. And the amount of fun that we had in a semester on, oh my gosh, a third of the semester in my house, a third of my semester in church, and a third of semester on Zoom. We literally took over every possible area we could take over, but we had so much fun, and even among the chaos of last semester. So I cannot even imagine the blessing of the joy that's going to be in next year. So please consider it. Consider it and be on the lookout for information so that we can get to know you and you can get to know us. We adore you. We love you. We're so thankful for you. And we pray that you have a wonderful, Holy Spirit-filled day. Bye-bye.